As adults, it's quite easy for us to tell each other, and young people especially, that you need to think outside of the box, try new things, go and have new adventures. But for us, ourselves, we tend to get stuck in a rut sometimes and we end up sticking with the same thing. So you hear things like, oh, why would you want to go and study that? That's not even a real subject. Or why would you want to go over there? We're all over here. When I was really small, I grew up in a house that was filled with music. So my parents weren't musicians, but we listened to a lot all the time. And I grew up listening to jazz greats like Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Louis Armstrong, and classical music as well. We listened to a lot of different types. I listened to the Grieg and Tchaikovsky piano concertos quite a lot. Every Sunday after lunch, that's what we did. When I was in primary school, I think even today, I'm still a bit like this, I was quite an inquisitive child. I always wanted to know how everything worked, always wanted to know what was going on. And I remember writing a story about what I wanted to be when I grew up. By that point, I already knew I was going to be a professional musician. But that was only one of the things I decided I was going to be. I wanted to be a cricketer, because the England cricket team had just visited my school. I wanted to be a footballer, because I loved Arsenal. And I wanted to be a concert pianist, because I'd just seen one on TV and I thought it looked like a fun job. So I was really lucky that that's what I wanted to do. I focused on it, and at home, my mum really supported me to do that, and teachers at school did as well. So I did that all the way through school, and when I finished my A-levels, I decided that I was going to go to music college. So I did a degree in classical music. Once I finished that, I came out of college and became a full-time freelance professional classical musician and teacher, because that's what pretty much everyone does when you finish a degree in classical music. So I did that, and really being a musician is absolutely fantastic. It's so exciting. Get to travel to lots of different places across the country, across Europe, across the whole world. I've had so many opportunities because of that, to meet some amazing people and get to perform in some amazing venues and get to be part of lots of really fantastic performances. So we have this idea of what a musician is, and it tends to be someone who just plays their instrument, someone who just sings, someone who just writes music, someone who directs their band or their orchestra. But there's also another side to it that we also forget as well. While I was studying, I, like a lot of students, had part-time jobs. My teachers didn't really like that much because they thought I wasn't focused enough, but it's what I needed to do. And so my way around that was to try and have jobs that were very focused on music. So I worked a few hours a week in an office in a music centre. I worked front of house in a major performing arts venue, and I also started teaching then as well. So I did all of these, and I thought, that's fantastic, that's music, it's fine. But what I hadn't realised is that I was also developing other skills as well. One of the things you don't realise until you start freelancing is how much time can be spent dealing with emails and looking at spreadsheets. That ends up being a really big part of your job. You start looking at things when I was organising rehearsals and concerts. A lot of that is people management, time management. You end up having to negotiate, trying to organise people's time. There's all of that. It's actually really good training for working in high-pressure office environments as well. You end up having to deal with last-minute changes, working under pressure, dealing with a crisis. All of that really comes together. And that realisation for me was quite a shock initially, because I'd had this really limited idea of what it means to be a musician, kind of almost romanticised. And I realised that there were lots of different paths, and it was up to me to find out what was going to work for me. So I've continued developing all of these skills as well alongside music. And a few years ago, I started looking at something I really loved in school that I'd given up in favour of music. And this was coding. So I was really into web development. A few years ago, I decided I was going to do another course in web development. I had a couple of weeks off in the summer holidays. There was no teaching. I didn't have any gigs that week. So I thought, okay, I'll do this course. It was quite basic, but I managed to use that with my experience in music education and started working with some online learning platforms as well. So I did all of that through music and have been able to also apply that in other fields as well. So for me, music has been my path through everything, but I've been able to look outside that, and I think it's made me a better and stronger person for it. So for all of you, I encourage you to find your path and then do the same. Okay, we're going to play Silence Aria, which is by Philip Herbert.